Good morning. Let's start the discussion on current affairs. So, to take off the important topic for the day, okay. So, Adani Group is developing a port in Vajingam, okay, in Kerala, and it is being approached by the local people on ground of its impact on the coastal ecosystem, including their livelihood. Vajingam, a small coastal village that lies around 20 kilometers south of Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala, is on the boil for the last 2 weeks with fisher folk and their family laying siege to the under construction international seaport from both sea and land. The protester, led by a Latin Archdiocese Thiruvananthapuram, has been holding day and night sitting in front of the port since August 16, disrupting the construction work of the Adani Port Private Limited. At the port is being developed by the Adani Group. Okay. So on the design, build, finance, operate, and transfer basis. No, this is a port to be developed in the private sector by the Adani Group on the DBA 40 basis. That means design will be by Adani Group. Adani Group will build it, will finance it, and will operate it for a specific period, then transfer it to the government. Fine. The meaning of this particular term: design, build, finance, operate, transfer. That means the design of the port will be by the Adani Port itself. Then Adani Port will build it and will arrange the finance for the port, and the operation will be also the regular operations will be by the Adani Group. Okay, and it will operate it for a specific period. Then we will transfer it to the government on completion of the specific contract period. Fine. Okay. Though the Kerala government reached out to the protesters, the bishop folk led by the Catholic Church refused to hold the protest, saying any compromise without stopping the construction work on the 7,500 crore all-weather port is not acceptable. What they want first the work to be stopped, then discussion with them to find amicable solution, then the construction work should proceed. Fine. So Adani Group is the process of developing and operating many ports in India. An example you can say the Dhamra port of Odisha is also operated by the Adani Group. Okay, Dhamra Port Company Limited is also in the Bhadrak district of Odisha is also by the Adani Group. So similarly, Adani Group is also developing this particular port in Kerala, so near to the Thiruvananthapuram. Fine. According to the what lies at the root of this protest, according to fisher folk, the port work has aggravated the coastal erosion. So why they are protesting? They are protesting because so they complain that the port work has aggravated coastal erosion. Okay, the coastal erosion, which is a problem in that particular area, has also been aggravated by this construction activity along the coast of Thiruvananthapuram. A scientific study to assess the impact of the port work on the shoreline has to be conducted urgently by stopping the construction. So what they want? They want first the construction work be stopped and an assessment be made, okay, about the impact of the port work on the shoreline. Fine, on an urgent basis. Then subsequently construction work may resume. after finding a solution to the problem. But unless and until the construction is not being stopped and proper evaluation, the proper uh, inquiry is not being done to the impact of this particular port activity on the coastal erosion. So the work should not continue. This is the main objection raised by the local fishermen folk. Right? Because their own habitat is being affected severely by the port construction activity. That's why so they have raised their concern about the project. Right. So, a scientific study to assess the impact of the port work on the shoreline has to be conducted urgently by stopping the construction. Further, around 300 family on the coastline were shifted to relief camps after the houses were destroyed due to high intensity coastal erosion in the recent past. The protest demand a comprehensive rehabilitation package, an assured minimum wage when the sea turns rough due to the inclement weather, and subsidized kerosene for their boats for continuing the fishing activity. Fine. These are the basic demand raised by the fishermen folk of the locality, so who were at the forefront of this agitation against this particular port construction activity. Fine. Then moving further to the next. So has the port work aggravated the coastal erosion? In fact, all type of construction works along a coast aggravated sea erosion, loss of beach, and accretion gain of beach. The longshore drift along the coast of Kerala with waves approaching the beach, okay, at a certain angle has been transporting the sand along the waves, resulting in erosion and accretion based on the topography of the each terrain. Any structure, be it ground, seawall, breakwater, okay, intensifies erosion on one side and accretion on the other side. If there is erosion on one side, normally there is accretion on the other side. Although coastal erosion is dominant in all coastal districts of Kerala, it is more severe along the coastline of Thiruvananthapuram. Fine. And this erosional activity has been intensified more due to the construction activity for this particular port by the Adani group, for which there is this widespread demonstration by the local fishermen whose habitation and livelihood both have been affected by the project. A study shoreline assessment for Kerala coast conducted by the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management. Okay, who has conducted the study? It is the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management. So, it is the study was done by the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management and Society of Integrated Coastal Management and the Ministry of Environment and Forest. By assessing the shoreline changes for a period of 38 years from 1970 to 2010 in Kerala, has noted that the erosion is minimum at Thrissur and maximum at Thiruvananthapuram. Thrissur it is at 1.5%, but at Thiruvananthapuram it is 23% even before the port construction was started. That means natural causes are responsible for the erosion even before the port construction activity was undertaken near Thiruvananthapuram, because as per the natural process of coastal erosion. So Thiruvananthapuram region is more susceptible to erosional activity than the other part of Kerala. By assessing the shoreline changes for a period of 38 years from 1970 to 2010, in Kerala has noted that erosion is minimum at Thrissur and maximum at Thiruvananthapuram, even for the port construction. In the case of Kerala, the seasonal shoreline changes would be more severe during the monsoon month due to the high energy short storm waves that lashes the coast almost in a perpendicular position, moving the sand offshore. Right. So this high energy short storm waves that lashes the shore or coastal area of Kerala in the monsoon period is a major reason for this massive coastal erosion even before the port construction activity was undertaken in the region as per the assessment made by the technical team in that particular area. Fine. The latest report of the expert committee appointed by the National Green Tribunal (NGT) and Shoreline Monitoring Cell formed to monitor the shoreline changes in the project area within 10 kilometers on the side either side of the port observed that erosion in spots such as Valutara, Sangungam and Puntura remains same before and after the commencement of the port construction in December 2015. However, during October 20 to September 21 period, okay, spots like Kuchveli and Seriathura to the north of Valuathura suffered erosion and accretion as noted in some other spots. So it is purely natural factor. So even prior to this post-construction activity, this coastal erosion was very prominent in that particular area, coastal area of Kerala, as reported by the survey done by the technical team, okay, of the Government of India, different ministry. The report by the National Institute of Ocean Technology, which assessed the shoreline changes for the committee, provide details of the maximum wave heights reported during this period. During the time of Chi, the maximum that cyclone, the maximum wave height along the coast reached 7.29 meter, which rose to 9.44 meter during the time of cyclone Taukate in 2020 compared to around 2.5 meter in normal rough sea conditions and 1 meter in normal fair weather times. That means during the cyclonic storms, the heavy means high tides, the waves they affect or they dash with the shoreline, thereby causing massive loss to the coastal ecosystem and leading to massive coastal erosion in this particular area. And it was much before this activity were continuing much before the construction of the port was started by the Adani group. Fine. What did the fishermen say? The protesters argue that though the coastline of Thiruvananthapuram was already seeing high erosion, it was only after the construction of the breakwater. Uh, Only 33% of the 3.1 kilometer breakwater has been completed to date as part of the port that the high intensity erosion started damaging their houses and livelihood means. They are demanding a study led by experts, including representatives from their community, which, according to them, can only unearth the impact of the port work on the shoreline. Right. That is what they have been demanding. Okay, to appoint an expert group where their own representatives will be there. Okay, and they will make a detailed study about the impact or the find out the causes for this erosion in the area. Okay. The stand of this port limited and the Kerala government official argue that the Ejingam seaport is being constructed inside a natural sediment cell, which is pocket-like area in which interruption to the movement of sand along the coast do not significantly affect the adjacent coastline. Further, around 5 kilometers north of the port, there are rocky headlands and pocket beaches where sediment transport due to longshore drift is relatively low compared to other parts because of the rocky area of the shoreline. In fact, any port structure could affect its adjacent shore only by way of blocking the longshore drift happening along its coast, which was not taking place in this case. Had the port been developed on a linear coast, adjacent shore would have been seen visible impact, which is not visible in this particular case. They further argue that the breakwater structure will not divert the wave energy to other locations, leading to more erosion. Fine. The wave fields after hitting the breakwater cannot prolong. It dies down immediately, according to this Vadigaon International Seaport Limited. Okay. Both sides are giving contradictory view. Everyone trying to justify their point, but more than 300 fisher folk family have been shifted from the area due to erosional activity and complete destruction of their habitation. That is a cause of concern. However, the port development is likely to cause minor accretion for about 2.5 kilometers to the south of the port, the maximum rate being 26.6 meter per year, reducing to 0.5 meter per year by the 10th year and stabilizing thereafter, according to a study conducted by the L&T Ramboli Consulting Engineering Limited. Fine. The consultancy company of L&T Ramboli Engineering Limited has given a forecasting that this erosional activity, okay, that will acquisition activity will continue for some year and after that be completely reduced. Okay. The Kerala government made it clear that since the coastal erosion is due to climate change, as reported by the various agencies, the demand for stopping the port construction cannot be considered. Okay, because the government's point is that because different expert committee they have given the report that the construction has very less impact on the erosional problem of the area. So the chances of this project being stopped is ruled out. However, the government has expressed willingness to address all other issues raised by the PISOPO during including their rehabilitation and livelihood concern. Okay, livelihood concern. Okay, government assured an expert committee would be constituted to study the impact of the port work. Earlier, the High Court has made it clear that the work on seaport project cannot be halted. Fine. The Kerala High Court has given the ruling that the construction should not be cannot be halted because its impact on the real situation has not been clearly delineated, and so as this is there is no such proof that this construction is hampering or is a major reason for this coastal erosion accretion. So stopping the work has been completely ruled out. Okay. But our next point is why this is so important. Why this particular port is considered so important. Located on the southern tip of the Indian peninsula, just 10 nautical miles from the major international ship route and east-west shipping axis, and with a natural water depth of more than 20 meters within a nautical miles from the coast, This particular port is likely to play a pivotal role in maritime development of the country and Kerala. Okay, so Kerala in particular will be definitely getting advantage of clusters. Okay, come to the cover. Up to right classes. Fine. So as this is being it has no such impact, okay, in the ecosystem, and this cohort development will be of economic importance to Kerala in particular and to the country's economy in general. So the construction work cannot be stopped. Fine. The commissioning of the port is expected to leverage the growth of 17 minor ports in the state, along with creating thousands of employment opportunities. Because this large port is along with the closely linked to development of 17 minor ports in the state in future, so which will be promoting the ocean-led development or will promote the blue economy, which is being focused by the government since the new age started. Because right now we are more focusing on the blue economy. India has a big prospect, and this development of port-led or this port-led development will definitely boost to our economy. That is why so the emphasis is on development of ports, okay, and on these minor issues. And after so many reports which are giving positive implications without any valid negative reason to stop the construction work. So stopping the construction work is somehow even ruled out by the state government and even by the Kerala High Court, because apart from improving the economy, it will facilitate development of 17 minor ports and create thousands of employment opportunity due to this port development in the area. Fine. So this is about this particular national issue. Then we'll go to a topic which is much in discussion at present because of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war and the possibility of use of nuclear weapon in this war, anti-radiation pills. This particular news is regarding the anti-radiation pills, because once there is a nuclear attack, radiation will spread, and there are some medications available to check the impact of such radiation on human health. So let us know the detail. With fear of a nuclear disaster in Ukraine's Jathia power plants, nuclear power plant growing, the European Union has decided to preemptively supply 5.5 billion anti-radiation pills to be distributed among the residents in the vicinity. These being handed out, the pills are being told to only take them once a radiation leak has been confirmed. Because this nuclear power plant is on the verge of there is a chance that radiation will spread from this particular nuclear power plant due to its improper handling or due to the violation of the safety standards or attack on it by the Russian Russian defense forces. That the chances of radiation spreading in the region. If Russia conduct a normal attack on this nuclear power plant, so its impact will be like a nuclear war, because radiation will spread. Fine. So, what is radiation emergency? These are unplanned or accidental events that create radionuclear hazards to human and the environment. Such situations involve radiation exposure from a radiation source and require prompt intervention to mitigate the threat. Dealing with such an emergency also involves the use of anti-radiation tablets. Fine. So you see, when radiation spreads, it affects human health to a considerable extent. And so, development in medical science has led to development of some medication which may check the impact of this radiation to some extent. They are known as the radiation pill. So, what an anti-radiation pill is? Potassium iodine, okay, tablets or anti-radiation pills are known to provide some protection in case of some protection, not foolproof protection, some protection in case of radiation exposure. They contain non-radioactive iodine and can help block absorption and subsequent concentration of radioactive iodine in the thyroid gland. But they do the anti-radiation pill. Okay, so they contain non-radioactive iodine and can help block absorption and subsequent concentration of radioactive iodine in the thyroid gland. Normally, the thyroid gland in human body absorbs the radiation, and that relates to health hazards in human being. And this radiation pill, it how it works? Let's see how does this pill works. After radiation leak, radioactive iodine flows through the air and then contaminates food, water, and soil. While radiation iodine developed during external exposure can be removed using warm water and soap. According to the World Health Organization, the bigger risk is inhaling it. Internal exposure or irradiation occurs when radioactive iodine enters the body and accumulates in the thyroid gland, says the WHO. So normally in an area where radiation is spread, so this radiation or this internal exposure of radiation, okay, when radioactive iodine enters human body and accumulate in the thyroid glands. The thyroid gland, which uses iodine to produce hormone to regulate the body's metabolism, has no way of telling radioactive from non-radioactive iodine. It cannot distinguish. Right? Potassium iodine tablets rely on this to achieve thyroid blocking. So this potassium iodine pills taken a few hours before or soon after the radiation exposure ensure that the non-radioactive iodine in the medicine is absorbed quickly to make the thyroid full. That means thyroid is full by absorbing this particular iodine. Because the okay, because of this potassium iodine, okay, contain so much non-radioactive iodine, the thyroid become full and cannot absorb any more iodine, either stable or radioactive, by the next 24 hours, said the US Center for Disease Control and Prevention. By using these addition pills, so the thyroid gland is already full, and so it has no capacity to absorb any more iodine that were released by the radioactive exposure or radioactivity. So the thyroid is full, so the chances of further iodine absorption by the thyroid gland is ruled out, so exposure chances is reduced. Okay, this is the theory on which this radiation pills work. Fine, but this pill are preventive only and cannot reverse any damage done by radiation to the thyroid gland. They can be used as preventive, but if any damage is caused to the thyroid gland prior to this taking this particular drug, it cannot be recovered. Okay, by this particular medication. Okay, once thyroid gland absorb radioactive iodine, those exposed are at risk of developing thyroid cancer. Fine. So, but if it is taken well in advance before the radiation exposure, it will not allow the thyroid gland to absorb the radioactive iodine from the atmosphere, which are there due to the radiation fallout. Fine. So it can act as a preventive but not as a curative treatment. Fine. So what it is, it can use as a preventive, not curative. Okay, not only as a preventive one. Fine. Also, anti-radiation pill do not provide 100% protection. Remember this. They cannot provide 100% protection. The effectiveness of this also depends on how much radioactive iodine gets into the body and how quickly it is absorbed in the body. Fine. So these all are dependent. Fine. Also, the pill are not meant for everybody. They are recommended for people under 40 years of age. Okay. Pregnant and breastfeeding women are also advised to take them. While it can protect the thyroid against radioactive iodine, it cannot protect other organs against radiation contamination. If any other human organ is contaminated by radiation, so this particular medicine cannot of any benefit in that particular case. Okay. The US Foods and Drug Administration advises against using salt or iodine supplements as they do not contain enough iodine to trigger thyroid blocking. Fine. So, as the chances due to this particular war being continuing for more than 4 months, and Ukraine, biggest nuclear power plant of the European Union or in Europe. Okay, so Ukraine has a big power plant, nuclear power plant, which is much bigger in size in Europe. So the chances of the radioactive pollution being spread from that particular plant in case that particular plant is attacked by Russia. Okay. So it's growing. So that led the government to think of this, introducing this one. One grain. Fine. Then moving to the next. So this is about the intoxicants, bhang and ganja and criminality in the NDPS Act, Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act. Right. While granting bail to a man arrested on June 1st for possessing 29 kg of bhang and 400 grams of ganja, Karnataka High Court recently observed that nowhere in the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act is bhang referred to be prohibited drinks or prohibited drug. Since ganja recovered was below commercially quantity and accused was given bail on a personal bond of 2 lakhs. The single judge bench relied on two earlier judgments, Madhukar versus State of Maharashtra in 2002 and Arjun Singh versus State of Haryana 2004, where the court has ruled that bhang is not ganja and is therefore not covered under the NDPS Act. What is this particular item called bhang? Bhang is a edible preparation made from the leaves of the cannabis plant. So what? This is made from the leaves of the cannabis plant, often incorporated into drinks such as thandai and lassi along with various foods. Bhang has been consumed in the Indian subcontinent for centuries and is frequently consumed during the festivals like Holi and Mahashivaratri. Its widespread use caught the attention of Europeans, with Garcia da Horta, a Portuguese physician who arrived in Goa in the 16th century, noting that bhang is so general used and by such a number of people that there is no mystery about it. That means it is being widely used since long years. Okay. So enacted in 1985, the narcotics and so what this? Okay, Psychotropic Substance Act. Okay, this Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act (NDPS). Okay, okay, this Narcotics and Psychotropic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act. Okay, in the main legislation that deals with drugs and their trafficking. Various provisions of the Act, one is production, manufacture, sale, possession, consumption, purchase, transport, and use of the banned drugs except for medical and scientific purposes. The NDPS Act defines cannabis or hemp as a narcotic drug based on the parts of the plant that come under its purview. The Act lists these parts as charas, the separated resin in whatever form, whether crude or purified, obtained from the cannabis plant, and also includes concentrated preparation and resin known as the hashish oil or liquid hashish. Right? Ganja, the flowering or the fruiting top of the cannabis plant, exceeding the seed and leaves, when not accompanied by the top by whatever name they be known or designated. Any mixture with or without any neutral material of any of the above form of cannabis or any drink prepared therefrom. The Act in its definition excludes seeds and leaves when not accompanied by the tops. Mango which is made with the leaves of the plant is not mentioned in the NDPS Act. It's the biggest exemption you can say and which is widely used. Okay, so the provisions regarding mango has not been mentioned in the NDPS Act. As a special provision, the Act states that the government may allow cultivation of any cannabis plants for industrial purposes only of obtaining fibers or seed or for horticultural purposes. Cannabis and criminal liability. Section 20 of the NDPS Act lay out the punishment for the production, manufacture, sale, purchase, import, and interstate export of cannabis as defined in the Act. Prescribed punishment based on the amount of drug seized. Contravention that involves a small quantity or 100 gram of charas, hashish or 1 kg of ganja will result in rigorous imprisonment for a term that may extend to 1 year or a fine which may extend up to 10,000. For a commercial quantity, 1 kg charas, hashish or 20 kg ganja, rigorous imprisonment of not less than 10 years which may extend to 20 years, including a fine that is not less than 1 lakh but may extend up to 2 lakhs is also there. If the contravention involves quantity less than commercial but greater than small quantity, rigorous imprisonment to 10 years prescribed along with a fine that may extend up to 1 lakh. That means there is provisions in this NDPS Act against this narcotic substances, but at what quantity they have to be reported or recovered to make the person eligible for punishment. It's been clearly mentioned over there. Fine. And the third news is about the naval insignia. Okay. So ensign. Okay. Prime Minister will unveil the new naval ensign flag for the Indian Navy in Kochi on September 2nd on the sideline of the commissioning of India's first indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant at Cochin shipyard. You know, so the only aircraft carrier in service in the Indian Navy is INS Vikramaditya at present. Okay, for some years since the past, so the only serving aircraft carrier was INS Vikramaditya. Okay, so which we purchased from Russia. This is the only aircraft carrier. Right. And fortunately, so we started building our indigenous aircraft carrier and we are able to build the INS Vikrant. And the coaching shipyard has built the indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant. Right. So why then replacing the ensign with the colonial first? The new naval ensign with the which unveils in Kochi replace the present ensign that carries the Saint George's Cross. Fine. What? The Saint George's Cross with the tricolor in the canton. The ensign is essentially a successor to the pre-independence ensign of the Indian Navy, which had the red George's Cross on a white background with the Union Jack of the United Kingdom on the top left corner. After independence, on 15th August 1947, the Indian Defence Forces continued with the British colonial flags and badges, and it was only on the 26th January 1950 that a changeover to Indianized pattern was made. The Navy crest, the flag were changed, but the only difference made to the flag was the Union Jack was replaced with the tricolor and the Just Cross was retained. Fine. The Just Cross was retained, the red cross in the middle, but the tricolor was it replaced the Union Jack. Fine. It is the first time the naval ensign is being changed. A change in the naval ensign was made in 2001 when the Just Cross was replaced with the naval crest in the middle of the white flag, while the tricolor retained its place on the top left corner. There had been a long pending demand for a change in the naval ensign, with the original suggestions for change having come from Vice Admiral Okay Barboja, who retired from the Navy as a flag officer commanding the Chief Western Naval Command. However, in 2004, the ensign was again changed back to the red George's Cross as there were complaints that the new flag was indispensable because the blue of the Navy crest merged with the sky and the sea. A change was made in the flag, and the red George's Cross now had the state emblem derived from the lion capital of Ashoka in the middle. In 2014, yet another change was made when the word Satyameva Jayate were included on the flag below the Ashokan emblem in Devanagari script. But in the Saint George's Cross, then the red cross on white background is known as the Saint George's Cross and is named after the Christian warrior saint who is believed to have been a crusader during the Third Crusade. And as a mark of respect, the British Navy added this as the symbol, and as we are ruled by the Britishers, the Indian Navy also added this to the Indian naval ensign. Fine. But okay, this cross also served as the flag of England, which is a constituent of the United Kingdom. The flag was adopted by the England and the City of London in 1190 to identify English ships entering the Mediterranean. The Royal Navy of England adopted the Jazz flag to fly on their ship in various shapes and form at the present pattern of the British white ensign also was adopted around 1707. Okay, but this was also the ensign in many navies of so many countries because Britishers were the colonial master over them. So these were the flag of many navies around the world. But once they become independent, so many of them have changed over to their own model. Most Commonwealth countries retain the red George cross at time their independence, but several have done away with it on their respective naval ensigns over the years. Prominent among them are Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. The Royal Canadian Navy adopted a new design in 2013, which are the Canadian flag in top left corner and the Canadian naval crest on a white background. The Australian Navy changed its ensign in 1967 and now has the Union Jack and six blue stars, positioned as in the Australian national flag on a white background. The New Zealand Navy also did away with the Just Cross in 1968 and replaced it with a white flag bearing Union Jack in top left corner and four red stars. The South African naval ensign has a green cross instead of the red Just Cross. Pakistan Navy has its naval crest on the ensign, while Bangladesh Navy has a white flag with Bangladesh national flag in top left corner. So it shows that many of the countries were under the British colonial rule. Once they became independent, they have changed their naval flag and uh, replaced the British design flag by their own national flags to be carried by their respective navies once they became independent as a mark of self-respect. Fine. So this is all about the news. Let's see the long question for today. Writing answer. This is about the rare earth elements. This is important in science and technology. It is about the rare earth element are a set of 17 metallic elements. It includes the 15th lanthanides on the periodic table plus scandium and yttrium. They also are referred as rare earth oxides because many of them are sold as oxide compounds. Rare earth elements are necessary components of products across a wide range of applications, especially high-tech consumer products such as cellular telephones, computer hard drives, electric and hybrid vehicles, and flat-screen monitors and televisions. The demand for them is small, although rising. They are mined and processed in small quantity, and hence they are called as the rare earth materials. So, what they are called as rare earth elements because they are produced in small quantity and hence is the name. Environmental significance due to their unique magnetic, luminescent and electrochemical properties, these rare earth elements help technology to reduce emission and energy consumption. Therefore, provide them greater efficiency, performance, speed, durability and thermal stability. They have distinctive electrical, metallurgical, catalytic, nuclear, magnetic, and luminescent properties. The futuristic technology will need these rare earth elements for high temperature superconductivity, safe storage, and transport of hydrogen for a post hydrocarbon economy. ନାଇଁ ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ ସେମିତି କିଛି ନାହିଁ ଏରା ମିଛ ମିଛି କିଆ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ହଁ ମୁଁ କିଛି ନ କୋଉଠି ନା ସେ କୋଉଠି ଗୋଟେ ପଡ଼ିକି ବାଜିଛି କୋଉଥିରେ ବି ସେଇଟା ନା ସାର୍ଟିଫିକେଟ ନା ଏଇ ମଣ୍ଡେ 5 ତାରିଖ ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ ଏଇଥର ଇଣ୍ଟରଭ୍ୟୁ ଗୋଟେ ରହିଯାଇଛି କେତେବେଳେ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ନା ସେକେଣ୍ଡ मैडम देखिए मैं क्लास पढ़े थोड़ा ऑनलाइन क्लासेस फ्री को कॉल करेंगे मैडम कॉल बैक करो fine. The futuristic technology will need these elements for high temperature superconductivity, safe storage and transport of hydrogen for post-hydrocarbon economy. Environmental, global warming and energy efficient issues. Because of these future needs and the better technology, there will be huge demand for these rare earth elements in times to come. Fine. Permanent magnets which are used in defense equipment including actuators to control guidance system of airborne smart missiles as well as in aerospace applications for aircraft component and airstrip maintenance equipment are derived from rare earth minerals. With growing global trends in clean technology, the demand for critical rare earth minerals will grow. While late in joining the race, the government of India is taking steps to develop this and strengthen India's position in the rare earth market. Because we in Odisha mine rare earth and we have a plant in Chhatrapur by the Indian Rare Earth Limited. We have a rare plant in Odisha at Chhatrapur in Ganjam. Right. So we have this Indian Rare Earth Limited at Chhatrapur. Fine. Okay. So, government of India is entering into this domain, and the government of India entered. This is purely an Indian government entity. Okay. Moreover, if India wants to position itself as a global leader in renewable energy and be more self-sufficient in defense equipment, it should seek to reduce its dependence on import of renewable energy equipments like the solar panels and modules, as well as defense equipments. Fine. Conclusion. While a beginning has been made with the announcement of a National Mineral Policy 2019 covering non-fuel and non-coal minerals, India must strive to acquire expertise in valorizing these minerals and seek to developing its downstream sector. Okay, so downstream sector means the main industry has a number of downstream industry who can use the products of this main industry for different manufacturing purposes. Fine. So the industry who work with the main industry and above it are the ancillary industry and they are the downstream industry. So ancillary industry supply raw material to the main industry and the downstream industry take the raw material from the main industry for their own use. Fine. To that end, India should seek to leverage its ties with Japan and other countries that have the requisite technology for manufacturing downstream equipments so that it can set itself as an alternative source of rare earth-based technology with its own supply chain of minerals and metals required for the same. Fine. So India, because India has some reserve of rare earth elements or rare earths in our country, so we can develop this technology for our own requirement under the Atmanirbhar Bharat program for our future requirement of these rare earth elements. Okay, in our own country. Fine. Let's see the MCQs. With reference to coastal plain of India, consider the following statement. Western coastal plain are example of emergent coastal plain, while the eastern coastal plain are example of submerged coastal plains. This is right. River flowing to the ocean coast plain do not form delta. Yes, they have also delta. Okay. Eastern coast plains are more suitable. Okay. So they form, so they have a lot of delta they have been formed. Okay, so the river flowing through the ocean course do not carry have no delta in them. west flowing rivers don't have any delta. It's the only right option. Okay, this is the only right option. This is wrong. And east coastal plains are more suitable for development of good ports and harbors. This is also no. So, so these one and three are incorrect. Fine. Only two is correct. River flowing through the ocean coast plain do not form delta. Okay, it is the right one. They never form a delta. Okay, east coast rivers have the delta system. But the following statement with regards to coastal erosion in India. The eastern coast underwent more erosion due to frequent cyclonic activity of Bay of Bengal in the past 3 decades compared to the western coast, which remained largely stable. Odisha, the eastern coast, is the only state where the coast witnessed an expansion of more than 50%. So both the statements are correct. Cut the following seaports seen in the news. Okay, so coming to this Adnan port is Kamaraj port. Okay, Kandala port is named as Dindal Port Trust. Kolkata port is known as Syam Prasad Mukherjee port. Navsabha is Jawaharlal Nehru port. And then Panampur port is New Bangalore port. And Tuticorin port is Obij Dambaram port. Okay, so all are correctly matched. But the following pairs. Kariwa nuclear power plant. Okay, it is in Japan. So this is wrong. This is in Japan. Bruce nuclear generating station is in Canada. This is right. Then Hanbit nuclear power plant is in South Korea. And this Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. So only two pairs are correct. 2 and 4. Two pairs which are correct. 2 and 4 are correct. Okay, are correct. And 1 and 3 are wrong. Fine. What coconut is observed on 31st August? Reference to Coconut Development Board, consider the following. Coconut Development Board is statutory body. Okay, yes. The board can undertake activity outside the country also. Okay, so both these are correct. Consider the following statement with reference to potassium iodine. Okay, so which we discussed regarding the arch is radiation pills. Okay, potassium iodine is salt similar to the double salt. Potassium iodine radiation pills provides 100% protection. No, this cannot provide 100% protection, but it provides protection, but it's not 100%. Full protection depends upon the amount of exposure and the time period of it. Okay, so only one is correct. India's first indigenously developed vaccine called uh, Sarvivac for the prevention of cervical cancer. Okay, it has been developed by the Serum Institute of India. Okay, Serum Institute has developed this, and at the global price by the multinational company is more than 11,000, but this vaccine developed by Serum will be priced between 200 to 400 as declared by the company just recently. And the 1st of September is a very important day in Indian healthcare system because the vaccine for the cervical cancer has been developed, and the cervical cancer is a major disease in which around 41 lakh women and girls died per year in India. Right, as per report. Okay, the death is around 41 lakh per year. 41 lakh per annum. That means every 8 minutes one is dead of this. This is a very milestone development in Indian healthcare system. Then, which of the following statement regarding Rashtriya Bharati Yojana is a scheme launched by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Social Justice and Empowerment, right? It is a scheme for providing physical aid to assisting living devices. It is a scheme for senior citizens belonging to BPL category, so it is not a cancer scheme. This is incorrect. Okay. Private sector lending by the banks in India should lending to So agriculture, MSME, weaker sections, that means to all of these. Right? And then 8 sectors which are called as priority sector. So 8. There are 8 priority sector. The following statement regarding SAME program. Okay, the program is launched by NASA in collaboration with the European Space Agency. Okay, no. Okay, it supports the formulation and maturation of system concept capable of ascending liquid water by penetrating the surface ice. Right? Because it's a NASA program, but there is no collaboration. Okay, so only two is right. Then coming to 12, which of the following is the positive impact of the rupee depreciation? Depreciation means when the rupee value falls as the operational market forces. In comparison to that, devaluation is done by the government intentionally. So this is so in case rupee is depreciated, so increase in export will be there, right? Which of the following, because the Indian product should be cheaper for the outside consumers, so India will increase export. So which of the following national international events monitors ozone depletion? Okay, then the Gothenburg Protocol is regarding okay, the Gothenburg Protocol is regarding ozone. The Boone Convention is not to ozone; it is on the migratory parts. National Air Quality Index monitors ozone layer. System of air quality ozoning also monitors ozone forecasting. So, except the second one, that is this Boone Convention, rest all three A, 3 and 4 are correct answer. Operation Blue Freedom was sometimes seen in news with the following statement explained correctly. It is a social impact venture aimed at rehabilitating people with disability through adaptive adventure sports. This is called the Blue Heart. So answer is C. Fine. Then 14, 15. Which of the following are the benefits provided under the scheme for economic empowerment of the denotified nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes? Okay, seed program for them. So, educational empowerment, health insurance, facilitative livelihood, and housing all are holistically covered under the seed program for the nomadic tribes, the denotified tribes. Fine, by the Government of India in recent times. So, thank you for watching. So, keep on watching regularly our developments. So, you'll be able to update yourself with the topics and the questions and how to write the answer based on this. Fine. Thank you for watching. So watch regularly and enrich yourself. Thanks.